So what's going on, everyone? How's everyone doing? Now today, A$AP Rocky's album has officially dropped. Now I know it leaked, I gotta say, a month in advance, maybe a little bit over that. But it's finally out. Now this is an album that I've been kind of looking forward to. The singles that he has put out, such as Goldie, even Problems. The singles, I felt them. I had no problem with it. I can rock with it on the radio, even played off this album, no problem. I was feeling them. So with that being said, just to start it off with, this album to me was a great album for Rocky to come out with. It had some interesting points, interesting features, things that I wasn't really expecting that would, that maybe A$AP Rocky would have on this album. I didn't come in here expecting, crazy lyrics, really thought-provoking lyrics. Stuff like that. I came in here with A$AP Rocky stuff that I can play in my car, bang out, such as Problems, Goldie, the song with Schoolboy Q, the song with Skrillex, a bunch of other stuff on this album. I really thought, I'll just bump in my car, or I'll bump when I'm with friends or whatever. I didn't come in here with some crazy idea that, A$AP Rocky's gonna come with these amazing lyrics or anything like that. So with that being said, just topping it off with my first thoughts or first impression on this, let's hop into this album, give you my top tracks, the features, stuff I was feeling, stuff I wasn't feeling also. So let's get started. On this album, you're getting 15 tracks, and on those 15 tracks, you're getting features from a wide range of artists, such as Kendrick Lamar, 2 Chainz, Drake, Joey Badass, Danny Brown, Big Krit, Yelawolf, Accent Bronson is on here, Skrillex is even on here, a wide variety of features from different artists that are really, some of them that are similar to each other, but other ones that aren't really similar. They're very far apart and they do their separate things. So I really liked how he touched it up with different things, different types of artists, such as taking Skrillex and working with him, which something I wouldn't expect from A$AP Rocky or any rapper in general, because you normally don't see this. So I gotta give props to A$AP on that, and it was actually a dope track to listen to when you're playing it in your car or whatever. I felt it. Now, one thing that did bother me about this album that I pretty much found out or instantly figured out was that I didn't like the way the tracks were organized on this. Now, I gotta say, I noticed this after like the third, fourth track maybe. I noticed it felt like the tracks were just thrown in there. There was no type of way that he wanted it to sound or he wanted it to get across to you. It was more like the tracks, just toss them on here, here's some music, you get it like that. That's the way I felt when I first, heard this throughout, which to me, it bothered me because normally I like my music to be more organized to where, if you're going to start out with something hard, then come out with something that's going to be a lot more, leveled with that one and then slowly start off to something else. I didn't like how it went to like maybe a hard Skrillex beat or whatever, and then it went to switch to a beat that wasn't as comparable or stuff like that. I wasn't really feeling that as much, which I felt I got throughout this album. So that was, maybe it's just my little nitpick, but that's one thing I didn't like personally from this album was the way the tracks were in here. They weren't organized in a way that would make this album feel more enjoyable, and it kind of just bothered me plain out. Now, another thing that did bother me about this was the hooks on this album. That I wasn't feeling them at all. Now, one of the hooks I can't stand throughout this whole album gotta be the single Problems, where 2 Chainz just goes over and he repeats the same line over and over. It killed me. Like, if I could just, maybe cut out that hook and just make it straight verses, sure, because the verses on there were hot. I had no problem with that, but as soon as you got to the hook, it's like, yo, I don't want to hear this. I know you're supposed to make it catchy for the radio, or you're trying to make it, somewhat appealing, but to me, I wasn't feeling it. Most of the hooks on this, personally, couldn't get remade or changed up or something, because to me, I didn't feel them. They were all, pretty bad in my opinion. Just me hearing this full out and keep playing it to, try getting something out of it, but to me, I couldn't mess with the hooks on this album as much. There were a few, I gotta say, that were fine, sure, why not, but the majority, no, I couldn't mess with them. Now, one of the tracks that did come off as a surprise to me was the track Suddenly. Now, I gotta say, Suddenly came to me as a surprise because I wasn't expecting a song like this to be on A$AP's album. Like I said, I come to him for straight, party type music, stuff to get you hyped, just enjoyable stuff to play in your car, play with your friends, you're just chilling, doing whatever. So when I heard Suddenly, you know, I personally, I liked it. I liked how he got real. I wouldn't say too deep and personal, but he really just put himself out there to a certain extent, I would say. You know, such as him saying, you know, he has roaches on the wall, roaches on the dresser, but the roaches didn't respect us, like stuff like that, where I can remember the lyrics, and it really, you know, it was really interesting to see him touch on certain things that weren't revolving around the whole girl's money, clothes, Versace shoes, you know, his fashion, all that stuff. I really liked how it really didn't touch on all that other famous stuff. It kind of just touched on him being who he is and where he came from and now where he is now, which I pretty much liked. Now, another track that I did like on this album that surprised me also, which I'm thinking it surprised other people that have seen the track listing or have bought this album, you know, it has to be the one with Skrillex. Now, to me, I wasn't, you know, looking for this to be a track like, oh, ASAP has Skrillex on this thing, you know. I'm thinking, yeah, it's gonna be dope, Skrillex and ASAP. I'm thinking it's gonna be hot. So when I got to the track and I listened to it, I'm like, this is what I pretty much expected on, you know, what it would sound like. So I had no problem with that. It was a surprising track. You know, I really give props to ASAP for taking a producer, working with someone that's not normally worked with throughout rap. So I gotta give him credit to that. And the song, to me personally, you know, I have no problem with it. The song goes in, you know, so I gotta give it to ASAP for trying something different that isn't normally, you know, usual for other rappers to actually do. So I gotta give him props. So with that being said, let's hop into my top 3 songs I was actually, you know, really feeling off of this album. So my top 3 tracks would have to be One Train, you know, song went in, having Yelawolf, Kendrick, Action Bronson, Danny Brown, Big Krit, you know, having all these rappers go in, no hook, just straight verses. You know, that was the track that I pretty much liked throughout this album. And another track that I also did mention a few minutes ago, saying Suddenly. Suddenly I really liked. It was a track that I really wasn't expecting from a ASAP album, let alone, you know, anything that he would make with ASAP Mob. So I gotta give him props to Suddenly, him stepping away from, like I said, the whole fashion stuff, the girls, the clothes, the money, whatever you want to touch on. You know, I really like that. And another track, that one of his first singles he put out, Goldie. I like this song, you know, the music video, I liked it. So my last top has to go to Goldie because I personally like this song. And even with the album, I still like it. So with that being said, I gotta drop this album. I'm feeling a 7.5. You know, that seems like to me, a reasonable rating for an album that ASAP, his first album that he dropped. You know, there were points in it where I wasn't feeling as much, such as the hooks, wasn't organized as much. Some of the tracks I felt maybe he could have, if he had extra tracks, he could have swapped them out. I can't remember them off the top of my head, but some of the tracks he should have, maybe in my opinion, should have swapped them out with other tracks that he may have had. You know, but that's just my opinion, you know, so share yours down below. What do you feel about this album? What you rated? You know, what were your thoughts on it? Some things you liked, some things you didn't like, you know, all that down below in the comment section. And if you watch this video and you haven't subscribed yet, you know, why haven't you? Hit that subscribe button down there. I was gonna point up, but it's down there. So hit that subscribe button, get my videos whenever I put them up. And if you want to take the extra step, why not? You know, hit me up on Twitter, Facebook, Google+. Whenever I have a new video, you instantly get it. You don't gotta worry about it not showing up on YouTube, you know, and all that other good stuff. So with that being said, you know, hit up the links down below. Share your thoughts on this album if you have heard it.